Today, I want to talk about something I buy on a regular basis, and that is gasoline. I pick gasoline because it's something I really need in my everyday life, and it's also a good example of how price, supply, and demand all work together in the economy. Gas is not one of those things that I can just ignore or put off. It is something I need to get around. I need it to go to work, run errands, go to appointments, and handle everyday responsibilities. That is why I felt gasoline was so strong of a choice for this assignment because it connects the economy to real life in a way that most people can understand. When I think about gasoline, the first thing that comes to mind is how often the price changes. Sometimes it feels like one week it's manageable and the next week it has jumped up again. Most people notice gas prices right away because it affects their budget fast. When it costs more to fill up your tank, that means you have less money left for other things. That is the one reason gas is so important. It is not just about driving, it affects how people manage the rest of their money too. If I had to spend more on gas, then I may have to spend less somewhere else. That could mean cutting back on groceries, putting off something I wanted to buy, or skipping something extra that I really do not need to do right now. Gasoline is important because it helps people stay mobile. It helps people go where they need to go and take care of the things that matter. A lot of people depend on their cars every day. So gas is not really a luxury for them. It is more like a basic need. Without it, daily life becomes harder. Now, when it comes to price, gas can have a big effect on the company that provides it too. Sometimes people assume that if gas prices go up, the company is just making more money, but it is usually more complicated than that. The company also has costs that it has to deal with. Those costs can include oil, refining, transportation, labor, and getting the gasoline to different stations. So, if those costs go up, the company may raise the price to cover those expenses. That means the price we see at the pump is often connected to what is happening behind the scenes. The company is not just picking numbers out of nowhere. A lot of times, the price reflects what it costs to keep the product moving through the system. This is where supply and demand come in. Demand is about how much people want or need something, and supply is about how much of it is available. With gasoline, demand stays pretty strong because people still need it to drive. They still need it to go to work, to take care of the family, and handle responsibilities. So even when prices rise, many people are still buying gas. When demand is high, prices often go up. You can especially see that during the summer or around holidays when more people are traveling. More drivers are on the road means more people are buying gas. When more people want the same product, the price often rises. Supply matters too. If there is a problem with production, a refinery issue, bad weather, or something happening in the world that slows down the flow of oil and gas, then supply can be affected. When supply gets tighter, demand stays strong, prices usually increase. That is why gas prices can move up so quickly sometimes. On the other hand, if supply is steady and demand is not as high, prices may go down. So when you look at gas prices, you are really seeing supply and demand in action. It is one of the easiest ways to understand those ideas in everyday life. Gasoline is also a good example of demand elasticity. Demand elasticity is really just about how much people change their buying habits when the price of something changes. Some things are easy to stop buying when the price gets too high, but gas is different. Even when it costs more, a lot of people still need it. That is because gas is more of a necessity than a want for many people. If the price of eating out goes up, people may decide not to go. If the price of something extra goes up, they may leave it alone. But with gasoline, many people still have to buy it no matter what. This is what makes it more inelastic. That does not mean people are happy about it. It just means they usually cannot cut it out completely. Instead, they adjust in other areas. They may drive less, combine trips, or hold back on spending in other parts of life. So the higher price still affects them, but it affects them by changing the rest of their budget. I can definitely see that as a consumer, when gas prices rise, I have to think harder about how I'll spend my money. I may put off certain trips or only go where I really need to go. I may think twice before spending money on extras because I know I need to keep gas in my vehicle. And that way, gas affects my decision making, not just at the pump, but across my whole budget. Gasoline also affects other businesses, not just the people buying it for their own cars. When it costs more to transport products, businesses often have to deal with higher shipping costs. When that happens, those extra costs can get passed on to the customer. That means higher gas prices can also become connected to higher prices in stores. So, gas does not only affect transportation, it can also affect groceries, household products, and other things people buy every day. That is why this topic matters so much. One product can create a ripple effect through the economy. What stands out to me most is that gasoline shows how connected everything really is. A change in price affects the company, the consumer, and even other businesses. Supply problems can push prices up, demand can keep prices high. And because gas is something people still need, many consumers end up adjusting the rest of their lives around it. For me, this makes economics feel more real. It's not just a bunch of terms in a book, it is something we live with every day in everyday situations. Every time gas prices rise, people feel it. Every time supply changes or demand increases, it shows up in a way that affects real families and real budgets. In closing, I believe gasoline is a strong example of how price, supply, demand, and elasticity all work together. It is an important product because people depend on it for everyday life. The price is shaped by what is happening in the market, and those changes affect both the company, the consumer, and the consumer. It also shows that when something is truly needed, people will often keep buying it, even when the price rises. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you listening to